These are the instructions for the low-tech version of the infection modeling. So aside from watching this video, you don't need a computer at all. All you need is paper and pencil and a hat. So the first thing you're going to do for the random numbers is you're just going to write down the numbers 1 through 20 on a sheet of paper. You're going to cut them out into little squares and you're going to put them into a hat. If you have some cardstock or some old index cards, that might work a little bit better, but it doesn't really matter. Or if you happen to like Dungeons and Dragons and you have a 20-sided dice, then you just use your 20-sided dice. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to make a chart similar to the spreadsheet shown in the video, and you're just going to do this on paper. You don't have to bother with the I's and the C's. You can just use X's and then cross out a line. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here's my chart that I just did on printer paper. So I've got the people 1 through 20 down here. At the bottom, I have the round number. And then you can see in my simulation, just like the first one, 14 was the first person infected. So I did 5 rounds of X's and then I drew a line to the end showing they were cured. And then I just counted by scanning up that there was 1 person infected in round 0. And then in round 1, I infected 1 more person, number 4, and so now when I'm scanning up, I count 2 X's. In round 2, there were 2 new infections, and if you want, you can even circle those so you know when they were new infections. So now I have in round 2, I have 4 people infected and so on. So I've only done this for 4 rounds. Okay, and then the next thing that you're going to do, so you're going to run the simulation. If you're choosing your random numbers from a hat and not using a random number generator, you're going to do it with replacement, which means you're going to draw a number, write it down, infect that person, put it back, mix it up, draw again, and so on. We want to allow for possible repeats. That could be 2 infected people interacting with the same person, and that's okay. You're going to manually count, which I just showed you, and then you're going to make your graph using graph paper or regular paper. And the x-axis should be the number of rounds and the y-axis should be the number sick. So let's look at what that might look like. And I'm just doing this freehand. So on the x-axis we have the rounds, and on the y-axis we have the number sick. And if we're doing this by hand, we're trying to just make sure that we're evenly spacing our tick marks. So maybe my y-axis goes like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So by 2s, and then the rounds we're just going to do by 1s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to use the data from the original simulation video for this. So at the bottom here, I've got the data. Rounds here, number sick, and then I'm just going to plot my points and then connect them. So in round 0 we had 1 person sick. Remember our Y scale is 2. In round 1 we had 2 people sick. In round 2 we had 4 people sick, and then 7 people sick. Actually, I'm going to add a few more labels over here. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. So now in round 3, we're going with 7. In round 4, we had 14. Oh, wow. So that was a big jump. And then in round 5, we're at 16. In round 6, we're also at 16. Round 7, we drop back down to 14. Round 8, 6, 7, here's 8. We're at 12. Obviously, this would be better on graph paper. Round 9, we are at 6. Round 10, we are at 3. Round 11, we are at 2, 2, 1, and then 0. And then we're just going to go ahead and connect those. If you want, you can do just straight lines like Excel does, so straight lines would look like that. And then you're going to do this for each of your 4 simulations. Now to make it a little bit easier, if you have access to a printer, I've got some templates that you can use.